Is this mine? Is this mine? There it is. There's mine.
Check 1, 2, 3. Check 2, 3, 4. Check 5, 6, 7. Check 8, 9, 10.
Cool. And welcome back to another episode of Disciplined Stoners. I'm your host, Ellevan.
My name is Winnie.
And we are the Gateway Drug to Mindfulness. And today, oh, wow, what a lovely time-space reality to be in.
It's me and you. I don't know about you, but I finally found a moment of like letting go relief today, which is like my favorite
sensation.
My favorite sensation.
Oh, the sensations.
Well, it can feel very frustrating when you know, and maybe we can talk about it a little bit, but when you know that you're hanging on to something and you know that your like freedom is letting go of that something.
Oh my God.
And you can't you don't know what to do to loosen your grasp.
How to not covet the ideal manifestation today on Disciplined Stoners. Disciplined Stoners. What's your discipline? You a stoner? That's cool. So are we.
I'm high a lot. It's weird to finally say that with pride. I'm high a lot. Being high has helped me with my anxiety. It's helped my social skills.
Love and light. Welcome to Disciplined Stoners Podcast with your host, Ellevan.
And my name is Winnie.
And we are the Gateway Drug to Mindfulness.
And then we'll roll the intro there. Nice.
Okay, so we just wung that concept, but yeah, let's dive right in here, Win. That's good. Do you want to share in what area of life this coveting of the manifestation or potential manifestation outcome was, or should we keep it general?
No, yeah, we can share. For me, I think like it's always my acting career. Well, let's always go. It'll always go back to that. The byproduct of that, of course, is money and finance, and like that's great too. But like, I really have ideas for what my acting career looks like, and I just feel like now I don't care again. I'm on the other side of that freedom where I did let go of the expectation, or not even, it's like a specific vision that you're like, oh, I just want it to happen so bad. And
you're hoping, wishing, and praying.
It's getting farther and farther away from me the more that I latch on to it.
So, that's so true. That happens in many careers. And you're choking, you're suffocating this thing from coming into your experience because you're so focused on the absence of it that it stands not a chance by natural law to manifest because you're so aware of it not being there.
Yeah. And so last week, we talked about this before the podcast, but last week you had given me cash. Mm-hmm. Beautifully. It was a nice chunk of cash that I used to pay bills. Mm-hmm. And then later that day, I left, you stayed here, I went and did my thing, you went and did your thing, and then I came back and you were like, I have received today, and you can just cut that out if you don't want it in there. You can just blank the number.
What we could just do is like, I've received double.
Yeah.
I've received double what I sent you.
So like, I was like, okay, what? Like, how did you do that? And you were like, I gave you money. And I was like, oh my God.
I let go of it like I gave it.
You let go of it. You weren't scared of it anymore. You weren't coveting it in your bank account. You weren't holding on to it for dear life.
Yeah, I know. And it took a lot of time to get there.
Yeah.
And I didn't act until I was really there.
Yeah. Good.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
And because you can be left in the dust sometimes with expectation. But if you just get it and move on and give it and move on, you're just really in a good momentum of that's prosperity right there. Like, it doesn't have to come, smelling like money all the time. Like, it's also just like being in an active mode of prosperity. You're kind of like, oh, cool, flowing. So if that is the desired outcome, like finance, then I know it's a weird logic in the third dimension.
It feels counterintuitive.
But give it or release it. To do well, like, remember that it's just like a tool or something, but that can be anything. It can be a career move. It can be a better body. It can be a relationship that you wish to attract, and whatever it is, you're suffocating it by, holding it away from you, essentially. Because if I wish to attract more prosperity into my life, I have to have it and be it. So you have to become it, right? Before, like, you can't say I want to be that thing and then not act like that thing. So if you are it, then you have it, so then you give it. So act from that place as though what you would do. As counterintuitive and illogical as that can sound on the surface, if it feels like a stretch, don't do it.
Well, and to further this story is that, like, I could see it. I could see that he had weight lifted off his shoulders. I could see that he felt freer than he had in the previous days. Mm-hmm. And I intellectually knew, like, exactly what had gone on, but, like, I couldn't I couldn't get there. Like, there was absolutely no way last week that I could have jumped on board with that feeling and started spending money and feel abundant and prosperous when I was doing that.
Yeah.
There's just no way.
Because context is everything.
So,
and it was an honor and a joy to watch you take that step that what took a week. It took you a week.
Yeah, pretty much.
It took you about a week. Sometimes the shit isn't a day.
Yeah.
It's a week.
Like 5 days.
But you notice it keeps getting better, though, right?
Yeah.
You notice it keeps getting better.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, there was definitely, like, from that moment, I feel like I was sort of like, okay, like, I know the path is to let go, and I don't see myself doing that. Like, I felt it inside my body. I felt my body hanging on to this idea of what I think should be. Mm-hmm. And
then you just feel like empty, lack of.
And I did feel that, and I kept feeling that, waking up that way, waking up feeling that tightness in my chest, just like, oh,
the
not
anxiety,
again.
the money bug is real, the anxiety, but like, you got to make room for yourself to feel good.
And
like, none of this shit matters unless you feel good.
I mean, also, I think, like, treating yourself well in any way that you can. Like, you don't have to, like, I really wanted to spend money over the last couple of days when it wouldn't have been good for me to do so, because it would have been filling the void of exactly what I was feeling, which was, of lack and of, like, not maybe great self-worth in moments where I feel like I should be doing more, or should have more.
And you're wrestling with a new space that you're in, right? Like,
well,
this is the
let's
first
talk about
time
that.
you've been an entrepreneur full-time as long as I've known you.
Yeah, so, like, we're not bringing in money in the traditional way that I know of.
We're
now.
free.
So it's really like... It was like...
But you're swimming the seas, and all of a sudden, you got nothing on the books, then you get a call, and you go, oh, fuck, nice, there you go, that's good. And then you get another one, and you're like, all right, rent's taken care of. And then you get another one, and you're like, this taken care of. And just like, the month is long, baby.
Yeah, but, and, like, I wasn't holding... Here's what was happening for me. I wasn't holding faith in those moments. I still don't know what that answer is to, like, get back to there. But I do know that I kept on my routine practices. I did stuff that, like, I knew would be good for me, like writing, even though, like, going to write felt like, ugh, well, no thanks. It felt cringe almost.
Why? Because you knew you weren't in a good space, so you just didn't think that you'd have a wise perspective?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. And just like I'm not... When you are in the shit, when you're in the weeds, like, your self-worth isn't... If your self-worth was anything, like, you wouldn't be so... deflated.
You wouldn't be so down in the first place.
Yeah. So, I kept meditating. I kept, like, telling myself that it would get better. Got doubled down on the nighttime affirmations, things like that. And then just, I felt some alleviation happen last night, and then I woke up, and like last night I kept replaying in my head, like, what I was gonna do when I woke up in the morning. And I'll tell you, because I didn't want to forget, and I didn't want to break the promise to myself. So last night, when I started feeling better, I started feeling like I was climbing that, only then was like, you're gonna wake up enthused tomorrow to write some comedy. You're gonna wake up, you're gonna go meditate. I literally did this before I fell asleep last night, I probably said said this 10 or 15 times. You're going to wake up. You're going to grab your phone. You're going to set the alarm for snooze. This is literally what I did in my head last night. From the top, what I said to myself when I felt I was climbing that ladder was like, you're going to set your alarm. You're going to turn it off for one snooze. After one snooze, you're going to get up and go sit on the couch and meditate. After that, you're going to make some hot water for some green tea. Then you're going to do your exercises. Then you're going to do your fucking journal. And then,
you walked yourself through that.
Yeah. And I said that over and over. And then you're going to do your journal. And then you're going to write some jokes. And then you're going to clean the kitchen. Like, I had it all. And I said it to myself 10 or 15 times. And I did everything this morning. And it felt like it felt effortless. It felt just like these things that felt so hard in the last week, cleaning, writing, meditating, those things felt hard for me in the last week.
Like chores.
Then this morning I woke up with that freshness. So it really is just like...
You did segment intending.
Yeah, exactly. But I did it when I was aware of the fact that I was climbing up out of the weeds. I wasn't trying to do that when I was in the weeds. I was treating myself gently. I was saying, like, this kind of sucks, but, like, you know, you've been here before. You don't have to figure it out all right now. It's okay to take a few days. Like, let's just check in. Let's be realistic about this. It doesn't, you know that this sometimes lasts a couple days, you know?
Yeah.
So
be patient with yourself during those times. It's hard not to have self-sabotage.
In the last, like, 6 to 8 months, I've really established a strong inner dialogue with myself. And that's been like a level up for me, like a game changer.
Good. That's what you got to do.
Yeah.
Definiteness of purpose doesn't come easy. I was watching this Bruce Lee documentary, and you could tell that he, you stoner talk. I was watching this Bruce Lee documentary, and so you should be like, water, bro. Put me in a bong, dude. Bobble, bobble, homie. No, but you could see they found his notes, and they gave you what he wrote in his notes, and they were verbatim what Think and Grow Rich prompts you to write about your highest intention. And
what is Think and Grow Rich, Ellevan?
Oh, Napoleon Hill's best-selling book, like the original self-help book. It explains quantum physics pretty much in energy form of thoughts and how they become things, sexual transmutation, self-awareness practices, journaling, affirmation. It was the first wink that I stepped towards mindfulness into. I was given it by my friend, and like, I don't know, without putting the label on it, he was like my OG kind of mentor, like owner of a creative agency. Cal got me to read it. I know, isn't that so nice?
So nice.
It's Asahi from Prohibition Farms, and which is absolutely beautiful. Red hairs on that.
I love the Asahi.
Very
I
creative.
love it.
Super good. And also some Khalifa mints from Headwater. That's a nice double banger right there. Those two together, I feel like I'm in a hotel spa. It smells like the clean together. Anyway, yeah, Think and Grow Rich. Huge, like, supporter of that if you want to change your life. But you see that, like, people who have achieved great things have always set out. Like, that's the power of manifesting through intention. It's fun as a human life, as consciousness, to go, I want to go there, I want to get there, have the intention. And you set forth those, it's like connecting with the higher version of yourself. Like when you do that segment intending like you did before you went to sleep there, you're like, okay, tomorrow I'm going to kill it like this. And you envision it. And then it's a lot easier to know what to do when you're in those moments. You don't get lost, right?
Yeah.
You've taken the time to go, all right, I'm going to go like this. I'm going to go like this. Like, as a musician, that's what it's been like. It's like, how do you not know? Like when you get a big stage or a big audience, how have you not been dreaming about this? You know? So it's like so many, even like, I remember before I had a podcast, I'd be like, oh, the things I want to discuss on my podcast are, and it's all this shit. And this is kind of where it started. I know, it's so delicious.
So nice.
I'm finding it hard to even fully focus on what we're talking about because how nice this weed is, but I know that's not kind to our listeners. But it is fucking, we should take a minute and just enjoy it. What are you feeling from it? What do you get from it? Put a pause on what I was saying.
Yeah, so I think I'm getting like some of like the fishy flavor from the Asahi, along with like a floral flavor. Actually, I don't know if that's the two combined.
What do you mean fishy?
Like a little like tinny
Dank?
tinny dank.
Like blue tuna, like the tuna taste?
Yeah. I don't know if Asahi has some.
Asahi, I think, is like after the beer. I'm definitely getting the Khalifa mints right off the top. And the mentholy sweet tongue. Yeah, the Asahi definitely has that bitter earthiness.
It's kind of tinny.
It's also sweet. Tinny. Like
Yeah.
metal.
Yeah.
I find it sweeter than that. Just gorgeous buds. Holy.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, man. And just the densest. Oh, man, that's so nice. Anyway, as I was saying, Bruce Lee, he wrote down things that he most certainly achieved. And you see how that helps on a grand scale of manifesting outwards. And you see how it helps on your day-to-day. From just waking up to doing your meditations. When he knows, I don't know if any of you guys notice, but like when someone drinks and gulps heavy, I usually react to it. And when he's like the loudest gulper I've ever met.
I don't care. It doesn't hurt my feelings one bit.
Yeah, so she does it like into the mic almost on purpose every episode. Anyway, congratulations on your awareness and your confidence and turning that around, because things really turned around for you yesterday and today, didn't they?
Yes, well, it's
So
not.
finish that week story.
Here's the thing, though. It's not
That
like
week turnaround time.
it's not like anything has changed except me. That's the most
That's always
beautiful
it.
thing.
That's
is
always
that,
it. It was just
like,
you creating it.
My circumstance is still the same, but I can see it so much different now. Like I can see it with like love and appreciation, not fear, not scarcity.
Yeah,
like
take what's good for what's good
yeah.
at any given time. Well, at least this, you know.
And it does come with doing stuff, I think. Like, writing is super helpful. Like, going out and to perform is going to be helpful. I know that. Like,
You're writing
being
some mad good
involved.
material lately.
Thanks.
Good job.
I wrote something recently that I need your thoughts on. I'm going to work on it after this. I can't remember what it is. Otherwise, I would tell you about it, but I have it written down.
Okay.
I have a whole book full of jokes, and probably like 60 of them I scrap before they ever see the light of day.
That's dope. So you're doing the work like that. I can feel you doing the work like that.
Yeah.
That's good. But you've written some real shit from real life, which is really funny.
It's all there is for me. That's the only lane. That's my lane. I'm not even that guy Tom Papa or whatever that we saw last night. I was like, he has some great
Like run
observations.
Yeah.
Like observing humanity and then talking about it. Not I'm always going to be pretty niche in the way that like I'm drawing from my life. So my biggest audience is going to be probably people who identify as women my age, I would say.
You're like Miss Maisel.
Sure.
Sure. Cool. Well, that's tremendous. Yeah, thank you for observing that in that moment, because yeah, when you asked me how I turned the energy around, I hadn't brought awareness to it, so that was super duper fun just to have that. But yeah,
And it's like every time you have these experiences, they feel less impactful on you in a negative way, because it's like you know that this is just part of life.
Yeah.
Like oh man, it's crazy that I guess we weren't really told that like sometimes in life things are going to happen, and in those moments you're going to feel like complete shit. Like of course our parents don't want to tell us that, because that sounds scary. And I don't know if we would even believe them. Like when we're kids, we're our own little shits. So maybe we didn't have the capacity to hear that.
Pre-paving
even.
happens. I don't know. I think that happens in lots of ways. I think actually you need more optimism. But rather, I think what you're trying to get at is talk about the tools it takes to stay calm when shit gets hot.
Yeah.
When life vacillates, you got to find your own anchor sometimes. Mm-hmm. And
Like the first signs, if you can just figure out the first signs of you feeling like you're spiraling. Because
oh my God, can we share our fucking story, our Costco story?
Sure.
I think that's incredible. Being aware of when you're in, just because I gotta document this. Are you okay with this?
Yeah.
Or no? Just because it's such an awareness practice. Okay. So when you're going through an experience and you're triggered, it's very hard not to take that seriously. So I'll tell this whole story just to get us to the point where we understand what's going on as it's happening, and it's no less frustrating. But understanding what's happening is tremendous, and it dials you right into that Abraham Hicks space where you realize, okay, like almost this is a simulation based on my thoughts. So we're going into Costco, and I already had a little something crawl. Oh, that's what it was. Okay. So I did some light shoplifting by accident, okay? So on the self-checkout, I took something. I felt bad about it. And so it was in my craw since the night before. And we went on with our day, and we rented a car, and we went to Costco. And it's good. I always feel abundant when I go into Costco. Because you're there to spend a couple $100 at least. It's Costco. So you gotta just say, hey, I'm gonna buy it here. I'm not gonna spend it on takeout. I'm gonna fucking buy it here. So it's good to go into stores like that as an investment. So that's the way I kind of wipe my energy clean. So in counting my abundance, I brought up a bill. And it turns out that bill was larger than than I expected. So it really put a fuck. Like, I'm trying to feel abundant. I feel guilty because I stole a $10 thing yesterday. And now, whatever, I got to pay a couple $100 more than I thought. Whatever. Very small fish to fry. But, like, and we've dealt with this since, but, like, frustrating to learn of in the moment. I'm just saying that because of my feelings, my reality wasn't doing me any favors in helping me prepare to feel prosperity. But regardless, I got to a place where I knew what I'm going to do. I made a little plan. All right, cool. So
you transitioned during the Costco shop. So you went in with like a little hesitation. Fuck. You could feel it. And then when I jabbed you with the bill, that hit you harder than I think you were even probably
expecting.
Yeah.
Because I don't even react like that to money often.
Yeah.
Like whether it's incoming or outgoing, I usually try and keep it like fun.
Yeah.
But like,
so we were starting low at the beginning of our Costco shop.
We walked in a little less high vibe than usually programmed.
And we decided to not acknowledge that and try to build. We both got on board.
There was no time to fully unpack everything. We have a rented car for a period of time when we have a mission to go to, and this place is busy, so let's rock,
and
right?
We dropped stuff off at Value Village on our way before Costco, but Value Village was mean to us, so we left.
He's like, don't stop here, bro. And I was like, what? And I'm like, I'm just gonna drop this off and donate it. And he's like, you can't stop. He's like, fucking meanie, rude. And I was like,
he's a big
dude,
too.
Watch the attitude, buddy. Like, and I was just like, fuck this. Like, and he just like cooled his jets, but we drove off.
Yeah.
Like, fuck you. Like, nah. So Value Village, check your people.
But so we also had that experience.
Then we went to Salvation Army. We gave it to a wonderful little sweet Filipino lady. So that was amazing. So bless you. Thank you, Salvation Army. And they were people who gave my mom food when we needed to eat and Christmases and shit. So I know Salvation Army is out here doing good work. So donate Salvation Army. I don't know about that other place. Anyway, what were you just saying? So we had that experience.
Yeah.
So there was, as I'm saying, because of my feelings and my thoughts of my recent experience, my reality was not doing me any favors.
Your reality was reflecting to you the way that you felt.
Exactly. I wasn't doing myself any favors by feeling that way. So we go into Costco, right? But we start climbing to Winnie's point.
Because Costco's actually a great environment for us. We like
fun.
It there.
It's super fun for us. We like it. We like looking at the stuff and checking it out. And there's bread there. And there's samples.
Yeah, they got the samples back, baby.
And Winnie did something magical. I'll refrain from drifting away from the story, but Winnie clocked a couple really nice interactions with the guy who called me lucky, like the food sampler who was like, lucky guy.
Well,
like,
we saw...
She clocked him. She's like, that's a manifestation of a good... Like, you're feeling prosperous, obviously, because people are identifying your bright energy.
Yeah, well, we saw the old momentum slow down, and we saw a new momentum get created. So so that information was given. We were starting a little hesitant in Costco, and then we both decided to like stick to the guns. Like, let's go. This is our... And so then that reality started to get presented to us almost immediately. Like over the course of 10, 20 minutes, all of a sudden we started having good experiences with the people who give out the samples and other people at Costco. We were having
we helped some ladies
rich
and
experiences
nice
with
affirmation things.
Yeah.
So we thought we were in the clear. We thought we were such a channels. We thought that we were on the clear. And part of sustaining happiness, believe it or not, is actually not living circumstantially. You know? So as we are creating this new reality for ourselves with our feelings and through these experiences and interactions that we're having, we're getting a little too attached to how well things are going and starting to expect that.
Yeah, because we also were doing like a little bit too much celebrating, I think, from ourselves. We kind of were like, look at how we turned that shit
We're
around.
in the clear. We're in the clear. Like, we came in here like one way and now we fucking held it. Like
Yeah,
fuck.
like nothing bad could happen. Like we were kind of like in the clouds, like, oh my God, like what could happen now?
You know, and that's where there's wisdom in old school cats like Winnie's dad who kind of like keep it even keel. Like, you know, there's those folks. God, it's so annoying. It's like you can't just go like that.
You're the one being distracted by it. You could have just kept going, but now we've had this whole conversation.
So we get a little too celebrative, and but the party continues. And we're like self-checkout, and then she looks at me and it's like a joke because
of what happened the night before.
So there was that little twinge of guilt again.
Ooh.
That's actually probably what it was. Like, we were on the free and clear, and we weren't putting a limit. When you shop, especially Costco's, I don't like to put a limit on stuff. Like, I don't like to budget shop. It's like, what do you need? Get it. What do we love? Get 2 of them. Cool. That's just abundance, and it feels good, and I don't keep track. I didn't always do that, but I do that now, and I find that it's because I'm going to spend it somewhere else anyway. Like, so I usually just get it. Like, I usually find it to be more economical in the long run anyway. But aside from our grocery list specifications, we had a moment about the self-checkout, and there must have been a twinge. Anyway, we decide to go with the checkout because people at Costco are always awesome, and this guy was no exception.
He was the best.
This guy that we got was no exception to the rule. He was absolutely fantastic. We had a super cool moment interaction.
We were talking about the good place.
Yeah, they made a joke or something, and then I made one. I just improv'd one. It was
a good place reference.
It was a good place reference.
But he doesn't know the good place.
And I didn't know that, but they were saying lines from the show back and forth, and they're like, yeah, the people who do this, and I'm like, or the people who eat in an Uber pool, and they're like, oh, does that happen? And I was like, and they're like, oh, that's from a movie. Do you know it? Or a show? And I'm like, no, I thought we were just doing this. So that really played into a really beginning a lovely experience. And I don't know, man. I don't know if we were having too much of a good time for this lady behind us, this little horrible... It's not even a real person. It's like I manifested a rat. Like what looks like a rat. Like a short, white, Karen, old bitch with a fucking mask on and like buying nothing but lint rollers. She was getting impatient from the great time we were having. And in our exchange, when he said... stuff down below, and then you go around the side, right, and he's hoo-hawing and we're talking and he's loading our car and pushes it through. So homie was gonna hook us up with a nice little undercarriage. Easy mistake. I could see that. I'm just saying it happens sometimes. It's like, hey, a little blessing comes through and you just let it happen. All right, so that was the vibe we were getting, and this little demon rat person taps him on the shoulder and publicly points to like down there, like, hey, you forgot that stuff, and fucked us. Like a younger couple, you evil, evil, dark-hearted woman. It must be so bad for you in your life, and I'm so happy about that. So I'm kidding.
He really went off on this lady.
Well, and that's another thing I want to talk about later. No, in the car, I was like, God, fuck her. Like, just like, I just couldn't believe it. I'm like, you would. And okay, so as this happens, we go from hoo-ha laughing to that moment, and like me and Winnie looked at each other, and Winnie was like,
you guys, I just want everyone here
laughing.
I want everyone here to know, I believe who's watching right now, that you know my values and like that you trust me.
Yeah, she's the moral
I found this shocking.
It was
I was like,
how could you do your fellow person like that?
You interjected. You like this
A
was
blessing.
like so. This was so like you being like, I am here for Costco.
You worked
like,
for Costco for free that day. You served a multi-billion-dollar corporation over a younger couple. That's what type of person you've become. You fucking mask-wearing bitch.
So I'm not as like heavily emotionally invested as
Yo,
Ellevan is.
as a
but
hood kid, getting blessings like that is the shit.
Yeah.
And for you to fucking... Here's the thing I realized, though. This lady doesn't even exist. I manifested this as a complete reflection of the craw in my vibration from the guilt I felt that took place at a checkout. And what was our man from Costco, who we got into a deep conversation about television, what was he talking about? He was talking about ethical, social efficacy.
Yeah.
Social ethics. And cute, and I was like, oh my God. And I looked at him in the moment. I was like, tell me everything you know. Because like, I know that none of this is real. It's from my imagination. And that this person has manifested to give me a message right now. And that's what he's saying. It's like, how deep in philosophy do you want to go about social ethics? And like, he had all the key answers. This guy was fucking genius.
Yeah.
And it's like, what I was just expecting and what just got zapped by something that I prejudged.
Delivered to you.
Like, you know what? Everything happened in such a magical way where the guy was talking about ethics.
And that's what you
and that's what I was struggling with. The philosophy of taking an extra thing at the self-checkout. And it's like, I know most people listening to this are going to be like, fuck, it's no big deal. I do it all the time. Yeah, it bugs me deep down, maybe because as a teenager I was caught for shoplifting, and that triggers other things about who I was during that time. Like, they're like, but you had money in your pocket, but I was living in a hotel with my mom and like going to school there, and all the other holes that were in my life there. And it's like, it's such a it's a funny, dismissible thing that's like, some people steal for sport. And like, yeah, for sure. But I don't know. I let it bug me in a way that was bigger than just that little exchange. It's not like I feel bad for Loblaws. It's not like I feel bad for the actual act. I think I'm like playfully mischievous. I think it serves me in another way or something.
Also, just to touch on why you might feel guilty is that like, I think you and I both have chosen to unlearn some beliefs, and like one that we're trying to integrate now and learn is that there is always enough. Like there's
always enough.
So if we really like want to believe that, that's not the type of behavior that suggests
it doesn't coincide
that you
with
believe
that. Yeah, exactly. It's like, it seems like a win and a come up with the dollar cents, but if it drains on your energy, I don't think it's worth it. And I mean, like, dude, I lovingly pay my bills. Lovingly, happily. But, like, yeah, it just feels like, okay, here's a little, like, gray area come up. And why not? That's to be left to how you feel about it, really, because there is no heaven and hell condemnation. That's all bullshit. And this is also some shit that has led me to, as to Winnie's point, explain to myself why I have certain ideas about things. And it's like, I am a confirmed Catholic. Like, if you do something, like, I was taught, if you do something wrong, then you're going to pay for it one way or another. And that's kind of true in life, but sometimes it's just more face value than that. Like, sometimes this whole, like, punishment thing, I'm sorry to say, is fucking super flawed. Like, the threat of punishment is
law of attraction.
Exactly. It's
you
how
do
you
something
feel.
that doesn't feel good, and then you attract more of what you're feeling. And that's this exact, like, what we just, that story, essentially.
So basically, full circle there is, that's what it was, is because admittedly I'd done it before and let it go.
You were manifesting so quickly. Your real life feelings were happening very quickly.
I'm at a high density right now because I really believe in myself.
And some people might not look at those as manifestations, but like I think we're at a point where we're like, no, we can see that. We can correlate what's happening on the inside and what's happening on the outside. So and they're the same.
Yeah, that's exactly like what the story was, is land us right back in that moment where that lady rats us out. Not even rats us out, like stops this blessing. We looked at each other like, oh my God, like there it is. Like, first of all, I can't believe this bitch. And second of all, we're going to now chat with this guy as long as we fucking like his fuck you and your impatience and trying to attack us for taking too long to check out by having a laugh. Like, you saw joy and attacked it anyway. But we're not going to let these surface value labels affect how we feel, or we tried not to. It was tough. We were pissed for a little while, but I got back on track. But over that, bigger than that in the moment, bigger than the frustration associated with the situation and the details, we were aware. We clocked it. We were like, this is
just us feeling, and then the universe being like, this is what you feel like, just FYI. That's all that's going on.
That's all it was.
Anything that's ever happening around you, this is what you feel like globally.
Yeah. This isn't real.
We feel like less good. Maybe most of us feel less good, and that's why we're seeing so much disharmony on the planet
Let's
right now.
feel more good together, guys.
Yeah, and that just starts with you.
Yep.
Just find ways to feel good.
Focus just on that. Simple. Breathe.
And I'm sorry.
No, go.
I was just going to say, like, when I said feel good right just now, I was like, oh, man, I got in my head about it. I was like, is that patronizing? But, like...
Well, that's why I gave him an example.
I think it's also, peace and contentment also, for sure. But I think that, like, maybe we've forgotten a little bit that, like, joy is, like, one of our birthrights. Like, it's not joy. Joy isn't for a time in the future when you're doing something that you feel will provide that for you. Like, joy is just right now, if you want it to be. So that's all I wanted to say about that. And I don't think there's anything toxic about that.
At least soothes you.
Yeah, so if you didn't hear that, Ellevan's just talking about how finding acceptance in a situation or of a certain person can offer relief. And I think that for me right now in my journey, when there is something sort of like stuck inside me that I don't want to look at, it manifests as anxiety. So like when I have anxiety right now, it's something most likely about something that I don't want to look at. Because maybe I don't, because maybe somewhere deep down inside me I know that, or I'm assuming that there's only a certain amount of solutions, and maybe I don't like any of those solutions. Maybe it's, one solution or two solutions. So that, that's my own thing. Those are my own limiting beliefs that like I'm making assumptions based on my own limited perspective. So, I got a little lost.
They see me rolling. They love it. I attract really nice people in my experience. They see me rolling.
That's what I was going to say. So when I notice that anxiety and I am in a headspace to explore it, I find
brave.
that
You got to be really brave.
exposing it and looking at it and accepting it is really where I feel the most free. It's like I don't need to push this outside of me. Like this can live within inside of me, and I can still be a good person, and I can still have value, and you know, I can still hold boundaries, all of those things. But like I find that I don't put up boundaries when I have anxiety because I'm not looking at the thing that's causing it.
Do you think it helps to look at the thing that's causing it?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it will diminish. Yeah. And especially if you take time to receive the information, accept it what it is, and then meet it with some sort of plan of action if necessary. Or the plan of action most times with things I'm anxious about is do nothing. It's just
Sometimes
let it go.
Sometimes that's what it is. But yeah, like that's what I said, boundaries grow out of, right? So like you look at it and once you look at it, you can really, and accept it, especially like, and look at it and be like, okay, like I accept you here. Like there's nothing too scary about you. Like I can handle your space in my life. Then you kind of make room for new possibilities to handle new tools to handle these parts of you or this situation, and you can kind of look at something and be like, does this need attention right now? Can I put this back on the shelf for a little while, or do I need to put up some walls, create some boundaries, whatever it is, you know?
Yeah, make plans for it. Just like make plans for it, like no worries.
Yeah.
And then enjoy the present. I think that's what I'm fascinated with, the tools to enjoy the present, but then knowing when to, you know, apply them appropriately and work in that life balance. Yo, can we talk about something hilarious and awesome? Because I found myself thinking about, just to shift gears here from that deep mindful workshop, and you know, we like to say we put ourselves on the cross for a reason, because we have these experiences full of, what?
Can I have the kombucha?
Yeah. You know, full of like rich reflections of what we're feeling. So we like to share that and dive deep. But, yo, I've been thinking about, because it's been shit weather here, man. It's been fucking cold and not wanting to go out, and that, you know, being a mental health struggle. And that's why we're so tuned in, because you have to be so aware to, like, not run away from your feelings and make sure that you're kind of dealing with what needs to be dealt with one step at a time so you don't get overwhelmed. So I've been thinking, damn, I want to take a trip somewhere hot. I've been like, I currently can't go to the States, but I can go to Mexico, anywhere. I can go to anywhere else in the world. So we were thinking like Jamaica, and then I thought about our time in Jamaica, and then it was at this place called Hedonism, and that it's just so fun. Like, well, not per se in the lifestyle, but I enjoyed the scenario. For those of you that don't know what hedonism is well, at least for periods of the year, it's a clothing optional resort, basically. Yeah. That's what it is. So that was super fun. But I got booked as a rapper at this thing called Young Swingers Week. So at this nudist resort, there's often what is to be called lifestyle parties, which is so fascinating. Like, we should really have someone on to talk about that, who's in that, because, you know, polyamory is kind of a fascinating thing that's having a return wave, just like weed, like a thing that was tried in the 70s and not really cognitively measured or studied or, you know, dealt with in some sort of like logistical way. And I feel like these lifestyle parties that are happening, it's I don't know, it's tremendous wild energy. Like, yo, do you want to talk about Jamaica and like hedonism and the experience you had?
Sure.
So random, because I find myself just like looking at this beach right now and thinking, I want to go to like.
You want to go back to hedonism?
Well, not specifically hedonism, not specifically for like the whole lifestyle aspect.
Right.
But I like the freedom of being
You like
nude.
being naked.
Yeah. Like specifically as well on the beach.
Yeah. I
Like-
mean, we have a nude beach on the island here in Toronto. Toronto Island has a beach called Hanlan's, which is clothing optional.
Yeah.
And we go there
We
every
go to
summer. And it's a really lovely experience.
You know, it's fun. I don't know, there's something so freeing and like as non-creepy as this can sound, it's kind of fun to be naked around other people, even if you're not like interacting with those people.
Yeah, everyone's naked.
It's like a naked party.
And like
It like shouldn't
being
be such
not
a
having
sworn
clothing
thing.
on in the water is very special.
That's what I mean. Like I just want to go swimming and go grab a drink and like not worry about having to put something on.
Yeah.
And like you let the sun kiss your whole body.
Yeah.
I've never felt healthier than when I sunbathe.
Everything.
Everything. Yeah. So that was fun. Like I think it very much ties in with my nature of being a natural rule breaker. Like that funny stand-up that you've recently written about. Like I see so much like it's such an easy rebellious tool, nudity. Because like why is clothing becoming or has become, I mean, I get it. I love fashion, and I think we should keep our parts safe for sure. But just like the idea of nudity or less clothes being so taboo, I love to push that boundary. Like, I just think that's tremendous.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's such an easy protest. Like, I think it's so joyful. It's such a joyful experience to be so a natural.
Yeah.
That it's like a mini protest. I guess. I don't know what my fascination is.
What are you protesting?
Conformity, covering up, lies. Like, that's what it feels like. It's like fucking the most pure form you can be.
Yeah, it is. It's really lovely.
And it's like, I'm
I
not
think
swinging
that-
it in anyone's face.
Well,
I'm
that's
just
what
like,
I think.
I'm out here just walking, just having a good time in the sun.
I think what maybe people don't know that don't do it is that it's a lot less like sensual than maybe you would assume it would be.
It's even if it's a sex club, it doesn't have to be a sex club. You know what I mean? Like, you can still just be nude by the pool, I think, at some of these scenarios and like not engaged. But this was like, I keep thinking of traveling somewhere. I can't get that out of my head.
Of hedonism or Jamaica?
Or just that sort of experience, like a
Yeah.
nude beach.
Yeah, totally.
Like a nude beach resort. That's
Yeah.
basically what I've been trying to say
You go
this
to
whole time.
Spain, I think. I mean, when I was a kid, they were all topless at least. But fuck. Yeah, you have a dick. And topless seems nude to me.
Is it-
Topless
and-
doesn't seem nude to you. That shit's so crazy.
That's
dude.
interesting. Like that thing, like how we've like said no to the woman's body and kept it as a sexual thing that we like
Yeah.
it's so weird. Like that thing that's been done with making that bad or private or I don't know. It seems like you've made it weird. Like you've just like it should be more natural. Like I don't know. That's the world I kind of want to exist in, where it's not even a big deal. It's not even like, you know?
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think we're closer than ever.
Yeah, I think we're closer than ever. Okay. Well, I don't know. I guess I brought that up just to talk about nudity then. How do you guys feel about nudity? Put it in the comments.
And now.
Man, this weed is good. It gets me going.
And now.
We got a fun fact. We got a fun fact. We got a fun fact. When those harmonies threw me in a whole other direction, I had a nice little bass line going.
Fact.
Still going with the song.
Earwax cleans the ears.
No way.
Yes, that is another essential function.
Yes.
That is another essential function of earwax. Think of it as conveyor belt like you see in the grocery store checkout lane. Dirt,
Oh my God, like that was in there.
Dirt, dead skin cells, and bacteria get stuck in the earwax to create the belt. When the eardrum beats or the jaw moves, the belt goes towards the opening of the ear canal, taking all that debris with it. The movement of the jawline is responsible for loosening the wax from the wall of the ear canal so that it can be sent through the ear opening as waste. Wow.
Holy consuelos.
I don't think... If you knew that, put that shit in the comments, because who knew that?
Who knew that?
It's also not wax. They said that there, but it's not wax. We just call it that because of its texture.
That's fascinating, Winnie. Thank you for informing us with such beautiful facts.
You're very welcome.
Please choose a number between 57 and 233.
$147.
That's funny. You should choose that number. That number has always meant friendship to me.
Friendship.
Like
Really? 147?
blind friendship, unwise friendship, but like nonetheless valuable. Manage your environment. Go first class. Chapter 7.
Shit.
147. The mind reflects what its environment feeds it just as surely as the body reflects the food you feed it.
We don't make this shit up, folks.
Oh my God, guys. That's exactly what the fuck. The mind reflects what its environment feeds it just as surely as the body reflects what the food you feed it. Have you ever thought what kind of person you would be had you been reared in some foreign country instead of the United States or whatever country you're in? What kinds of foods you would prefer? Would you prefer for clothing to be the same? What sort of entertainment would you like the most? What kind of work would you be doing? What would your religion be? You can't, of course, be sure of the answers to these questions, but chances are you would be a materially different person had you grown up in a different country. Why? Because you would have been influenced by a different environment. As the saying goes, you are a product of your environment. Mark it well. Environment shapes us, makes us think the way we do. Try to name just one habit or one mannerism you have that you did not pick up from other people. Relatively minor things like the way we walk, cough, hold a cup, our preferences for music, literature, entertainment, clothing, all stem in very large part from environment. More important, the size of your thinking, your goals, your attitudes, your very personality is formed by your environment. Prolonged association with negative people makes us think negatively. Close contact with petty individuals develops petty habits in us. On the bright side, companionship with people with big ideas raises the level of our thinking. Close contact with ambitious people gives us ambition. Experts agree that the person you are today, your personality, ambitions, present status in life, are largely the result of your psychological environment. And experts agree also that the person you will be 1, 5, 10, 20 years from now depends on almost entirely on your future environment. You will change over the months and years, this we know, but how you will change depends on your future environment, the mind food you feed yourself. Let's look now at what we can do to make our future environment pay off in satisfaction and prosperity. Go get that book if you want to check out more. That was so magic.
I read that book, I think, in 2020, and if we'd go back to podcasts, I think I remember talking quite a bit about it because it was blowing my mind.
Yeah. A fan gave me this.
Yeah, it's good. Real good. Good, easy reading, too, you know?
I was noticing that, like, I'm very used to reading, like, my other choice for this book is Neville, and, like, these are so dense.
Yeah.
Like, you have, like, one sentence that weighs, like, 1,000 pounds.
Yeah.
And, like, this is, like, oh, it's, like, 50 pounds for a whole paragraph.
Yeah, it feels a little bit easier to absorb the concepts.
Well, fucking nice stuff, eh, bud?
Hey, bud. Thanks so much for watching this, eh, buds?
We out here. Love you guys.
We hope to see you next week.
Hey, I'm going to throw the snippet with Aaron in here.
Cool.
So we released or are releasing, depending when you watch this, I'm going to say we've released by now, probably, a private episode on our Patreon, our Disciplined Stoners Patreon. So we have a friend who used to be in politics and doesn't feel it would be best to have his episode public, and that's okay. So, but we wanted to share some like super trippy, insightful stories. One about eating and food and power that goes along with that. There's like a pecking order thing. It's crazy stuff going on in our own government.
When did this happen? Yeah.
This is human instinct, for better or worse. Some individuals view things through a lens of power and take it upon themselves to have that power understood.
Yeah, because you left Bikram teacher training because you're a fucking boss.
Yes, because I called Bikram out on one of his many scams, which caused him to pull me away privately and give me what he expected to be the berating of his life, which he didn't like that I didn't show deference to him for.
Who, Bikram?
Yeah, Bikram himself.
Was that disappointing to you?
The actual
Were you
guy.
disappointed about that?
To be honest, at that point, I was in self-protective mode because I was in a private room with Bikram, whatever his whatever his henchwoman was in front of me, and a third large man standing behind me.
Oh
like
my
literally
God.
like wondering if there was a gun pointed at my head.
Whoa. Holy shit.
Yeah,
That's what
Bikram
getting
doesn't
expelled by
fuck
Bikram.
around.
Yeah. And meanwhile, that his words to me, you leave now on the first plane. I'm in Thailand in the middle of nowhere. Now that, for me, brings back the question, why were you even there to begin with? Which is a question.
Fuck. So hold on. How did you reject yourself from the Bikram training?
I sent an email telling students not to do as Bikram had instructed. He sent an email to the student body telling them to email their banks saying how happy we all were at the training, which in the context...
Their bank?
Yeah, the only reason you do that is if you want to make sure that the payments all go through. So I told students not to do that. And for that, I got called out of training into a private meeting with Bikram in which I was told to leave. And where I packed my bags as quickly as I could and took a taxi to the nearest hotel and hoped to actually get there. That was the experience of getting expelled at Bikram teacher training. And
In
then
Thailand?
Yeah, it comes back to the question, why did I go to begin with? And the answer is because I was a depressed man looking for an entry point into a different place in the world. That's why you go on a trip like that.
I would agree. I would agree that I went for the exact same reasons. I was in the Los Angeles training, so much different to me personally than Thailand would have been. I would have been fucking scared if I was in Thailand.
Thank you guys for your honesty.
But yeah, I can. He was a brutal man. Never to me. There was one moment I had with him alone.
You both met Bikram?
Oh, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
sick.
Yeah.
It's fucking weird, though, because he was... What was your experience with him?
I was walking out of one of his late night movie sessions. He'd keep us up till like crazy hours of the evening watching Bollywood films. So stupid.
Yeah,
it's so stupid how we all just did this. We were all like, yeah, we'll do this. But Bikram yoga changed my life drastically. You know that. So I really drank the Kool-Aid.
You guys are all like,
and-
here's like so much money I don't have, and let me just follow you around and act like you're the holiest guy in the world for some time. So
Yeah.
And
what
here's
was
the
this
thing.
experience?
I was going to the bathroom. He was coming back from the bathroom. Or maybe I was leaving and I just said, good night, Bikram. And he just stopped and like grabbed my chin and he's like, good night, sweetheart. And then kept walking. But it didn't feel creepy. Like I know, I trust the women and I believe that he did do what they said he did. I believe them.
But he touched your
But like
chin.
it never felt creepy to me.
Everybody in those later years was maintaining a disconnect between the image of Bikram that was coming out over time and the community experience that we
established.
Yeah, and I had it through Bikram Yoga Ottawa. Claire was the director, and that studio there was lovely.
Yeah.
And we still are on contact on social media, but to be part of that community was to associate with the story that was coming out. And I remember I wasn't there, but the movies, we talked about power. The movies were all about power. It's if you are in this setting, you are doing what I'm saying, and if you don't do it, you will be exposed.
Or like they had water guns for people that would fall asleep during these Bollywood movies. It'd be 2:30 in the morning, for real, 2:30 in the morning. And we had to get up at 6 to go to our first class. Or I think it was actually like 8 or 9. But still, like, people need sleep. And they would go, their workers who were volunteers, no one ever got paid at Bikram trainings, and he was bringing in millions of dollars.
What a shitty guy. But even to
These
touch your
volunteers,
chin like that?
They would take water guns and wake up people that fell asleep in these lectures till the wee hours of the morning with sprays to the face.
Bitch
like
ass.
it was so silly. It was stupid. It was really stupid. Oh, sorry. I guess I can't hear myself very much.
Oh.
Sorry about that. But like it was what I needed at the time.
Yeah, but like that, even like to Aaron's point about like it being a power move, like even to touch your chin like that, like that's complete like ownership weirdness.
And to give you an idea of where I was mentally, like how deep I was in it, it may have been, and I just was like, oh, like this.
You
is
felt
my guru.
lucky.
This is my. I felt lucky. I felt like I had a moment with this man, and everyone wanted. And that's
why
I believe
weird.
all of the women, because they all say that. They all say that, like, oh man, like I felt like I was, being,
chosen,
idolized or validated in ways that maybe I haven't before.
I actually had a moment of that because of my Indian background. He noticed me. You, as Winnie, as a yoga instructor, like I've lost my yoga knowledge, like so much other knowledge. But the pose that I used to be good at, the one where you have your two legs in the sky.
Yeah, locust.
Bikram noticed my locust.
Yeah.
And he pulled me
Bikram
aside.
noticed my locust. That was the dopest.
Well,
He showed that.
your joint is coming through to me.
So he noticed you, and it felt like he,
The first conversation Bikram and I had, he asked about my Indian heritage, and he noticed that I have a partial Indian heritage on my father's side, and he traced it through my family name Seal, and I don't know which Seal name he remembered. He identified me as a Brahmin, which is not an identifier I like or want, but...
What's a Brahmin?
I prefer... Do you know the answer to this?
No, sorry.
So this is the Indian caste system. This is Indian racism, Indian prejudice.
Yeah, okay.
Brahmin is the highest rank. So it's...
Oh.
Yeah. Lines of academics and tradespeople, privileged professions.
Got it. White collar.
Yes. That's a good way of
White
looking
collar.
at it. But it actually, in India, it's not good at all. Anyway, as evidenced by the fact that when Bikram noticed that there was another Brahmin in the class, in one of his 4-hour soliloquies, you remember these?
Yeah, I sure do.
He integrated in. It was 1 of ours, and you remember he made. What's the? I hate to call it the Book of Brahmin. I'd rather you edit that line out. But the movie he makes you watch, the Maha.
Oh yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah.
This was 10 years ago for me training, so.
Which the only scene, there's one scene that he made us watch, and it's one person says, your children are Dalits, and that's the insult, which is saying they're nothings. And the guy responds, no, they are Brahmins. And I watched this in real time thinking, I don't want to be watching this. Like, this is the part of Indian culture that my father intentionally didn't teach me. So that was, Bikram noticed me because I had good lineage.
Yeah.
Which for him made it even more of a treason when I was the one who called him out, because the way it played out, like when you talk about your experience with him, my experience with him was he sits himself face to face with me, with his henchwoman next to him, with another large male instructor behind me. So he is in my blind spot, and I am in a vacation resort in Thailand where I don't know if there's a gun pointed directly at the back of my head. And he starts berating me with questions that he thinks will be insulting to me, asking me how old I am, what I've done in my life, and why are you here? And at this point, I'm just thinking, how do I get myself out of this situation as safely as possible? Which, as a point of fact, I like to think I did, as evidenced by the fact that I'm talking to you here today. But I can just as easily mentally be exactly as I was on that day in 2015. That's the reality of my trauma.
Anyway, very unique, like a mystery files, hard copy files of the Discipline Stoners. It's a bonus episode on.
Oh man, we need to do some editing like that.
Bum, bum. All right, we'll work on it.
Yes.
You know, DS hard copy, because the Armchair Expert did that. They did the
Nice.
conspiracy files or whatever, and the guy explores those. He did like reptilian people. Anyway, so we talked to our buddy, and it's a fucking ride. We only planned to do it for like maybe 10 minutes, and we ended up sitting it down for a half hour.
Yeah, something like
So
that.
go check out our Patreon.
Go check it out. You'll be supporting us so we can keep doing this and leveling this up. We're going to keep doing this regardless, but your support would mean a lot. And you get extra content like meditations and
Daily affirmations.
daily affirmations.
Which are so
There's
great.
some also workout content in there. So
Yeah, we're both doing workout things.
so
On
check it out.
so the-
Come be part of the community.
Yeah. Shout out our friends, Seven Pipe, Jeffrey. I just like that grinder. I was just looking at that grinder. Like, shout out Jeffrey at Seven Pipe.
So,
All right.
okay, bye.
Good. Love you guys.
Love
Oh, yeah.
you.
Check out this clip. That's what I was saying is check out this clip with Aaron.
Yeah.
So fun. Yeah. Love you. Subscribe.
Bye,
Tell
bye.
a friend. Feel good. Are you a golfer? I'll give you something to golf on.
Discipline stoners. What's your discipline? You a stoner? That's cool. So are we.
I'm high a lot. It's weird to finally say that with pride. I'm high a lot. Being high has helped me with my anxiety. It's helped my social skills. Well, it's helped me feel okay about my shitty social skills. It doesn't make my social skills better, but it sure does make sitting in that awkward moment in a social interaction a lot more bearable. You know, that moment where no one in the group has anything left to say, and you desperately want to yell at all of them, just say something. Being high makes that hilarious and not torture.
Yo. It's Ellevan from Anger Town. These plants just helped me chill out. Found focus. Found confidence. All of a sudden I was productive. Less protective. More progressive. Yeah, we talk about stuff like I'm a next sommelier. But this is about a medicine, baby. We wish everyone a mindful life. It's been a helpful tool for us. Whatever the route to peace, it's each individual's journey. And the more we communicate, maybe we can all help each other out. Love and light. Welcome to Discipline Stoners Podcast with your host Ellevan,
And my name is Winnie.
and we are the gateway drug to mindfulness. And that's Ralph. Discipline. Stoners! We get high.
And we do stuff.